Hey, so I know I said that last week I would have my Ziggy Stardust video out, but I got the flu. And while I was sick, I thought it'd be a good time to reread this awesome David Bowie comic, Bowie, Stardust, Rayguns, and Moonage Daydreams. I'm going to be pushing the Ziggy Stardust video to next week. It's going to be a big one. I'm going to cover the entire era, including Aladdin Sane, the motion picture, pinups, all the albums and songs he helped write and produce during that time. This is a comic covering Bowie's career from his earliest bands up through Diamond Dog, so everything I've talked about so far and everything I'm going to be talking about in the next 2 videos. Screenplay by Steve Horton and Michael Allred, Technicolor cinematography by Laura Allred, directed by Michael Allred, edited by Mark Irwin, color assists by Han Allred, and a foreword by Neil Gaiman. The frame story is set around the Hammersmith Odeon concert when he announces that it's the final concert they'll be performing together. The third page covers everything I talked about on Early On, as well as him learning mime from Lindsay Kemp.
Bang the drum and blow the bugle call. Hero takes the stage to play for all.
We see the further foundations of his career, his relationships to other members of the glam rock scene, his relationship to his brother Terry, his name change, and musical influences. Something that becomes apparent here that runs throughout the graphic novel is the intersections with other famous people. We see the early sci-fi flourishes of the Space Oddity segment from the film Love You Till Tuesday. 2 pages are dedicated to Space Oddity. If you remember, this isn't what the music video actually looks like. This is way above what they were able to achieve with their limited budget and resources, but what's important for the novel is capturing the feeling. This is where the book first really excels in its commitment to hyper-reality. The characters are like superheroes or gods. From there, we get an overview of the events that would shape the Space Oddity album and his relationship with his first wife, Angie. The next section of the book takes us through the foundations of glam rock and the tumultuous recordings of The Man Who Sold the World. This is where we get our first wonderful splash page of the book, visually representing Savior Machine. We also see his first American excursion, briefly touching upon experiences that would take shape in Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane. As the story then goes into his formation of Hunky Dory, we see him hearing My Way and writing Life on Mars in response. It's also here that we see him meeting his new manager, Tony DeFries, who would prove to be just as instrumental in turning Bowie into a star as he would be in straining the relationship with his bandmates. We see his interaction with Andy Warhol leading to Bowie's screen test. One of my favorite interactions for this comic is his meeting with Christopher Lee that I was completely unaware of until reading this. To know that they wanted to record an album together but never got the chance is simultaneously the coolest and most upsetting thing I've ever learned. But at least Christopher Lee went on to record the best power metal ever. This also serves as the start of the largest section of the book with the recording and touring of Ziggy Stardust. What I really like is how much everything from the first part of the book pays off here. From here on out, consider everything a preview and a contextualization for the next video. The transformation begins on a page that resembles the artwork for the Best of Bowie album cover. We then see the band taking on religious symbolism, presenting moments that few are privy to as having massive cosmic significance. It's here we see Bowie shaping into Ziggy Stardust as a character that he creates to tell a story, to use as a musical outlet, and one that he'll use as a shield in the tumultuous 18 months to come. The page that shows Bowie and Ziggy coming together is heavily influenced by Jack Kirby's cosmic work. In the lead up to releasing the album, we see his and the band's transformation. The influence from A Clockwork Orange, which I recently read to better understand Bowie's returning interest to it. His stunt in Melody Maker saying that he was gay, which stops to show how he reacted to that interview at different stages in his career. His performance on the Old Grey Whistle Test. The start of their Ziggy Stardust tour. Completing his look with his new haircut. And writing All the Young Dudes from Ott the Hoople. Another simultaneously cool and upsetting thing I learned from this book is knowing that Ringo Starr and Harry Nilsson wanted him to play Alucard in their version of The Son of Dracula. Like, why couldn't that have happened? A whole page is then dedicated to capturing the famous images of Bowie going down on Ronson's guitar. And another whole page is dedicated to the controversial Top of the Pops performance. If you watch any documentary about this era of Bowie, they talk at length at how shocking this performance was. No one had seen anything like Bowie, and the sexuality simply putting his arm around Mick Ronson during the chorus of Starman was simply too much for some people. The next page does a wonderful job showing the range of reactions to this performance. The black and white look of the British living rooms really helps the images of Bowie on television screens pop and makes it feel like Bowie is coming off the page that he's spread across. From there, the comic takes you on a whirlwind through the rest of the Ziggy Stardust tour, including the essential introduction of Mike Garson on piano. Just about everything in this section covers the inspiration for his next album, Aladdin Sane. His performance of Gene Genie on Top of the Pops, and his famous Russell Hardy interview.
I'm a collector, and I've always just seemed to collect personalities.
Followed by a full page dedicated to the creation of the famous Aladdin Sane album cover. This is immediately followed by the band finding out that Tony DeFries is paying Mike Garson more than the rest of them, which would end up being the final straw for Bowie's working relationship with DeFries. We continue with his travels as the whirlwind continues. There's one page dedicated to the Life on Mars music video, all leading to his final performance at the Hammersmith Odeon. From the opening pages to spots at specific intervals, we've seen the Ziggy Stardust farewell moment in fragments.
Everybody, this has been one of the greatest tours of our life. We really... of all the shows on this tour, this particular show will remain with us the longest because not only is it the last show of the tour, but it's the last show that we'll ever do. Thank you.
But now, in two beautiful splash pages, we see the farewell from the spiritual and cosmic perspective, mirroring Ziggy's inception. It's a fitting farewell that brings this whole book together. There's an extended epilogue highlighting the rest of Bowie's glam rock period, with pinups and diamond dogs and other intersections of fame. This is then followed by several splash pages showing the rest of Bowie's career up through Black Star, which the author said in the afterword could be potential previews for more volumes. If they happen, they can't come soon enough. This is an amazing introduction to Bowie's career, covering his rise to fame. If a movie were to be made about the Ziggy period of Bowie's career, I would want them to take inspiration from this comic and show the separation between him and that character. If you're a fan of Bowie, you'll be doing yourself a favor checking this book out. Next week, I promise, I will have the Ziggy Stardust video. Alright everybody, once again, thanks for watching. Comment, like, share, subscribe. You know the drill, helps out the channel. Hey, new subscribers, thank you for checking out the channel and liking what I'm doing here. I have 40 more videos planned out, possibly more, and this is the part of the hour where I don't remember what I'm saying. Thank you to my lovely girlfriend who helps me film these videos. We just celebrated 5 years together. Again, sick with the flu, which was awesome. See you guys next week. Bye.